Hi everyone, we're here with my friend Wes, who has been in the 40k fandom for pretty much since first edition, right?
Since Rogue Trader.
Since original Rogue Trader. He has one of the, probably the most impressive collection of old miniatures and kind of hard to find stuff that I personally know. So he's going to share with us a little about it today. As you can see, we've got a few Titans here. And these are not all the Titans you might be used to. Some of these are what's called Armorcast. Why don't you explain to us what Armorcast is, Wes?
Armorcast was a company that we had. I want to say they were out of California originally, but they had the license from Games Workshop to make miniatures, and these are the scaled-up version of the Epic miniatures. So original Epic, first and second edition Epic. This is what the Reaver looked like. This is what the Warhound looked like. And they also did the Baneblade, the Shadow Sword and the Baneblade. And these were that. They also did Eldar and a lot of other vehicles. But back then, I didn't have funds to do it, obviously.
So you bought what you could afford.
Right. And I've gotten hold of this. Actually, I got from a friend who he bought it back then, but he finally got out and decided he didn't want his Reaver anymore, so I bought it off of him. But this is painted by Albert Anderson, so. But yeah, it's Armorcast was one of those companies. They lost their license when they made an Orc Gargant and didn't get the authorization to do it. So they lost their license. And then Games Workshop created Forge World, who took over. And this was the Forge World Baneblade in resin. That's what that resin Baneblade looked like from Forge World. And then, of course, they went to the new plastic kit.
Yeah, and these ones are pretty close in size, it looks like.
Yeah.
But
where the turret, this is a resin turret, and this one, if you pop it off, it's plastic.
And this one, so I helped carry these two down. This one's a lot heavier, the resin one.
$300 kit, $160 kit.
Yeah, so that's the difference right there, along with a few details. I think this one's got a narrower front turret, and that one's a little wider. And a few other details, but let's take this is the first edition Armorcast.
This was what the original Epic one looked like.
Okay.
And it was, they had it so you could pop apart. This actually comes out.
Okay, so those do come off. Now, does the top turret, okay, yeah, see, that's the thing right there.
This is one solid body, nothing separate. You got that, you got that, and then it was, this I glued down, but it used to be you could trade out the Shadow Sword body. Yeah. They first had them individual, then they had a combined kit where you could change out. They had a combined kit which was $50. It was $35 for this, or $50 for the pair.
Yeah, and these
he originally ran for $90 and he was $120.
Yeah, and can you take those apart a little?
Yeah, this one here is
because as you can see,
bolted in. It's got a bolt that holds it. The arms are also bolted in. If you look down inside there, you can see there's a bolt.
Yeah.
Holds it together.
As you can see, these came in a lot fewer parts. There were a lot. The parts were a bit larger, certainly. Like with this, certainly that's not something you would see on a kit today.
Whereas this one, I don't dare take it apart because the treads were
my shadow off of them.
Yeah, your treads here. You look at the treads. These treads were glued individual treads all the way around, which really sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, and these treads are all just part of the mold.
Yep.
One piece mold. Let me lift it.
Yeah, you can see it had to. Sometimes you'd have to drill them out because it didn't go too well.
Sometimes they weren't.
This is a metal piece. These little barrels are metal.
Ah.
So that barrel's metal. That little barrel's metal. This thing, that was resin. But yeah, you had some little metal pieces that came with them.
And if you put it next to this, I do believe it is
a lot smaller.
It's noticeably smaller. Oh yes. Yeah, that is a lot more noticeably smaller than the Forge World one. Excuse me. And let me see here. Here we got your Titans. Now, how did these? You don't have the Forge World Titans of these, do you?
Nope.
I was wondering how they compare as far as size.
The Warhound Forge World one will stand about this high, and the Reaver actually stands this high.
Okay, so there's a big size difference there too. Yeah, the vehicles.
Again, this one is $700, $700 or $800. This one's $1,200. I mean.
Yeah, definitely a price difference too. And I mean, these still look pretty good.
I'm happy with them because that's what I grew up playing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure there's a big nostalgia factor there too. And you said Armorcast is still around. They're making BattleTech miniatures. Is that right?
I don't know if the company's still open, but they were making BattleTech at this scale.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get, there were 5 different models that you could get that scale. So people wanted to play full-scale BattleTech. Oh, it was cool. They were $90 a mech. So I don't know if they're still around, but they were making mechs, I want to say up to about 10 years ago I was looking at them.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, so these were the very earliest Titans, right?
90 to 95.
And what was the gap between these and when Forge World started making them?
Forge World came out, I want to say Forge World started 96, 97.
Okay, so not long after Forge World started making Titans.
Because my first
But
Forge
the
World was
plastic
97.
ones-
I got this bad boy in 99.
Yeah, but the plastic kits didn't come out until like fairly recently, like what,
2005, 2005 maybe?
2005, yeah, 2000s it was for sure. All right, well that's super cool. So this is just his early Titan collection. Specifically, we're showing off the Armorcast ones because not a lot of people have really seen those. They're certainly quite a bit rarer nowadays compared to
You can still find them on
what
eBay.
you're used to seeing.
They're not too expensive on eBay. They're asking $400 for him and usually about $700 for him on eBay.
Aha. And you pretty much always see a couple on there? Or?
I've seen them, yeah.
I'm wondering if that's because, do you think it's because they're fairly common or because people just don't know about them?
I think somebody gets a hold of them. And I know a couple of guys back when I was playing, they got one of every one of the gun variants and they'd made their own molds and they were casting and pouring their old.
Yeah. And these are kind of like almost, yeah, these are like jointed.
It's got a metal pin right here. If you look at it closely, you can see that metal pin that goes right in. And so they got
And
a
did
metal
you have
pin.
to put that in when you built it?
Yep.
Okay. So you build them that way, but
Yeah.
they are like almost action figure-like in how they're jointed. It's kind of cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for showing us those, Wes. And you're gonna show us one other cool part of your collection today, and so we'll have 2 videos. But yeah, thanks for your time.